Cheap Joe's Art Stuff. My name is Julie, and I'm here to impart some knowledge to you today via a 2-minute art tip. And today's tip is about value, contrast, light and dark, all that kind of stuff. So you ever notice that you'll be working on something and you kind of feel like that this was headed in a really positive direction, and then you kind of back up from it and it looks kind of muddled and there's no real focal point here, and you kind of wondering what's going on. It may be that when you're working and you're actually face to face with something, the work that you are producing, that it may seem like your values are dark and rich and really robust, but then when you put them next to something else, you realize that maybe they're not. So I wanted to talk a little bit about a handy trick and some tools that you can use to kind of keep your eyes accurate as to the kind of light dark value that you're actually looking at when you're composing your pieces and stuff like that. So for instance, we have this demo piece, which in watercolor is particularly tricky because things always look darker when they're wet and then they dry back and then look much lighter. But let's say that you felt good about this when you were working on it, and then on it's dry, you're like, eh. You can actually get a fairly good judge for how dark light contrast there is in your piece. So you can actually look at this. And so let's say that we wanted a really, really dramatic difference between this light kind of teal passage and the dark violet. Well, we find our dark violet here on our palette and see that this violet isn't really as high octane as we thought. And when you put it in contrast to this, they are very, very different in terms of the value scale. That our violet here is actually, it resides somewhere in this mid-range and isn't nearly as dark as what we were thinking it was going to be. So that we know that we can amp this up and see where we want to take it from there in order to get it to pop against this lighter value here. The same thing can be true when we're doing even pencil studies and stuff like that. Sometimes when we're working in pencil, anything looks darker than the white of the page, and it's important to have a value scale available that you can slide in next to what you're working on and see how dark it is in terms of its overall value. So this is an extra handy usage for your color wheel, but there are also similar tools that are available in books like the Oil Painter's Palette if you work in oil, or even the Color Harmony series, or any of the color reference books that we have to help you accurately judge. We also have a handy little tool called the Value Finder, which actually allow you to hold up a value scale to the subject that you're using as a reference or next to your actual work to help you judge accurate value, light and dark, and the contrast. So we hope that this is helpful to you and maybe help you judge a little bit when you hit a hard spot in terms of composition and looking at lights and darks. And we hope that you enjoy.